The diplomatic starship Helios Accord moved through the silent dark of space like a silver arrow. Its engines hummed softly, carrying humans toward the great station known as Araval Prime. Every officer on the ship knew the mission was important. Humans and the Vorathi Dominion had never spoken face-to-face before. Every step, every word, every mistake could decide the future. Lieutenant Arya Vale stood near the wide front window of the observation deck, looking at the massive alien station ahead. Araval Prime floated like a giant ring made of black metal, glowing lines, and drifting light. It looked both beautiful and dangerous. Arya felt her stomach twist with nerves, but also excitement. She loved languages, alien cultures, and the challenge of understanding the unknown. That was why she had become a xenolinguist. That was why she was here. Today, she would meet Commander Kexar of the Vorathi Dominion. She had studied Vorathi communication for years, but the recordings were old and sometimes confusing. The Vorathi were insectoid, tall, strong, and covered in a type of dark, glossy exoskeleton. Their voices were deep, layered with strange clicking sounds. They were famous for being extremely logical, emotionally distant, and very strict about rules. "Lieutenant Vale," Captain Wren called from behind her. "You're ready?" Arya turned and saluted. "Yes, sir. You're our key communicator." "No trouble today," the captain said with a tired smile. "Please." Arya nodded. "I'll do my best." "Your best will have to be enough," Wren replied, then walked off to brief other officers. Arya took a deep breath. Simple English, calm tone, respectful posture. That was what her training told her to use. But she also knew humans had a habit of surprising people, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad. As the Helios Accord locked onto the station's docking ring, Arya walked toward the airlock with two security officers beside her. She wore the deep blue diplomatic uniform, clean and polished, but not too formal. Her heart beat faster with each step. The airlock hissed open. Cold air from Araval Prime spilled in. A group of Vorathi guards stood waiting. They were tall, easily over 7 feet, with long limbs and shiny black armor that might have been clothing or might have been part of their bodies. Their eyes were large and pale, reflecting the light like pearls. And at the center stood Commander Kexar. Even among the Vorathi, he looked imposing. His posture was straight, his shoulders broad, and his 4-fingered hands folded behind him. His mandibles moved slightly as he studied the humans. His head tilted a little, like a curious animal trying to understand a new sound. Arya stepped forward with a polite bow. "Commander Kexar, I am Lieutenant Arya Vale. It is an honor to meet you." Kexar's voice came out as a mixture of deep tones and soft clicks. "We acknowledge your arrival, Lieutenant Vale. We anticipate productive cooperation." His basic galactic speech was formal and stiff, but clear. Arya offered a small smile. "I hope the same." Kexar's head tilted again. His eyes blinked once slowly. Arya wondered if that was a sign of confusion or analysis. The Vorathi were famously hard to read. Kexar looked at the two human security officers behind Arya. "Are these warriors necessary? Our station is secure. Our station is secure. Our station is secure. Our station is security." Arya answered calmly. "They are here only for protocol. No offense is meant." Kexar examined the guards again, then gave a small gesture with one hand. "Accepted." The group began walking through the station's long metallic corridors. Light pulsed through the walls in soft colors, creating shifting patterns. Arya looked around, with open interest. The station did not look human at all. It felt like walking inside a giant living machine. Kexar noticed her expression. "You find the station unusual." "It's beautiful," Arya said honestly. "Different, but beautiful." The commander blinked again. "Most species find Vorathi design unsettling, Few use the term beautiful. Arya shrugged lightly. Different doesn't mean bad. Again, the small head tilt. Curious. Humans interpret unfamiliar stimuli with positive bias. Well, sometimes, Arya said. Sometimes we panic instead. That aligns more with statistical expectation, Kexar replied. Arya tried not to laugh. His voice was so serious that it made the statement unintentionally funny. She covered the laugh with a small cough. Kexar's eyes narrowed slightly, observing her. You are making a sound that does not match vocal strain or distress, he noted. Well, it was a laugh, Arya explained in simple words. It means I found something funny, not dangerous. Humor. Kexar's mandibles clicked once. Humans display humor in unexpected situations. This I have studied. But the timing continues to be illogical. I'm Ressa's daughter, doesn't expected. Welcome to working with humans, Arya said with a smile. Kexar stared at her for 3 silent seconds. Then he spoke in a tone that almost sounded thoughtful. Every part of you surprises me, human. Arya blinked. That was a strange thing to say on a first meeting. But she didn't have time to respond. The group had reached a large, circular chamber filled with floating holographic screens, glowing shapes, and a raised table in the center. It was the primary meeting room. Kexar gestured toward the table. Negotiations will begin shortly. Before that, we will review the communication protocols. Arya nodded. I'm ready. Kexar activated a hologram showing the complex layered symbols of the Vorathai language. Arya recognized some of them, but others were new. So new, they didn't appear in any human database. Her eyes widened. These symbols are not documented, she said. They were added recently, Kexar replied. We did not share them before. We wished to measure human adaptability. Arya stepped closer and studied the symbols. Their structure was strange but logical. She traced the patterns with her finger, letting her mind piece them together like a puzzle. Kexar watched her silently. After a minute, Arya spoke. The new set seems related to emotional context. Respect. Disagreement. Uncertainty. Kexar's eyes opened wider, almost a show of surprise. Your deduction speed is high. Most delegates require hours. Arya smiled slightly. Humans like shortcuts. We also like patterns. Your language is beautiful once you see the flow. Kexar stared at her again, his mandibles moving softly. Beautiful, he repeated, as if the word tasted strange in his mouth. Humans assign emotional value quickly. Fascinating. Arya wasn't sure if he meant that in a positive way or a critical one, but she didn't feel any hostility. The commander gestured for her to follow him to a side platform with glowing consoles. We will test your pronunciation of the new symbols. End quote. Arya nodded and stood before the console. The holograms shifted to display words in the Vorathi tonal system. She spoke each one carefully, matching the pitch and rhythm. Kexar listened closely. You adapt well, he said finally. Unexpectedly well. Arya lowered the hologram and looked at him. Commander, may I ask something? You may. Do the Vorathi distrust humans? The commander did not answer immediately. He stood very still, like a statue. Then he spoke with slow precision. Many see humans as unpredictable, chaotic, too comfortable with risk. Your kind changed your own world in a short time. You altered your climate, your cities, your biology, and survived. Species who make sudden choices unsettle us. Arya nodded. She understood. Kexar's eyes fixed on hers. Fear is not correct. Observation is correct. And what do you observe now? Arya asked. Kexar was silent for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was lower, almost thoughtful. I observe contradiction, he said. You are calm in a foreign place. You laugh at tension. You praise things that are not meant to be praised. And you learn at a speed that should not be possible. Arya didn't know what to say, so she waited. Kexar gave the strange half-tilt of his head again. Every part of you surprises me. Human. This time, the words sounded less analytical, more curious, almost respectful. Before Arya could respond, the meeting chamber lights shifted from blue to white. A soft announcement echoed through the room. Attention. Delegates. Prepare for first session negotiations. Kexar straightened his posture. We begin soon. Arya nodded. Then let's make it a good start. As they walked toward the central table, Kexar spoke quietly, just loud enough for her to hear. Unexpected. Unpredictable. Yet, potentially, beneficial. His voice held a faint note of something Arya could not name. Interest, perhaps, or the very beginning of trust. Whatever it was, Arya felt her nerves fade. She could do this. She could represent humanity well. And she already knew one thing. Commander Kexar was going to be a lot more interesting than she had expected. The second day on Araval Prime began with quiet, steady routine. But under that calm surface, tension grew like a storm waiting to break. Lieutenant Arya Vale woke early, unable to rest. She kept thinking about the first meeting, how the negotiations had gone smoother than expected, how the Vorathi delegates seemed both suspicious and curious about humans, and how Commander Kexar kept studying her like she was some kind of strange but fascinating puzzle. She didn't mind. She liked puzzles. But today was different. Today, both teams were scheduled to travel to the Shadow Belt, a cluster of dark asteroids near the station, to inspect old ruins discovered by the Vorathi. The ruins were from a lost civilization, older than both species. Nobody had been inside yet. The Dominion wanted to explore them with human help. Arya dressed quickly and headed to Dock Hall 3, where the joint shuttle waited. She spotted Kexar immediately. He stood with two Vorathi engineers and one tall guard. As always, he looked calm and serious, but his eyes brightened slightly when he saw her. "Lieutenant Vale," he said. "Good morning, Commander," Arya replied with a small smile. "I'm ready." "You appear so," he said, studying her for a second longer than necessary. Then he gestured to the shuttle door. "Enter. The others are preparing." Arya stepped inside the shuttle. Her captain had chosen a small but skilled human team. 2 scientists, 1 pilot, and 1 security officer. They gave her quick nods as she entered. The shuttle launched smoothly from the dock, sliding into the vast black of space. Stars glittered around them like frozen sparks. Kexar spoke to the group. "The Shadow Belt contains old structures made from unknown alloys. Our scans show signs of inactive technology. We must proceed with caution." "8C. Any signs of danger?" Arya asked. "None so far," Kexar said. "But old structures often hide unexpected systems." Arya nodded. Human explorers knew that very well. The shuttle drifted deeper into the asteroid field. The asteroids grew larger and more twisted. They were dark, almost absorbing light. Strange cracks glowed faintly blue on some of them, like veins of energy trapped inside stone. "This place feels eerie," the human pilot muttered. "It is normal," a Vorathi engineer replied. "Darkness does not equal threat." But Arya noticed the way the engineer's mandibles clicked nervously. Even the Vorathi were not fully comfortable here. When the ruins finally came into view, everyone fell silent. A giant ring-shaped structure floated between 2 asteroids, attached by thick, metallic roots. It looked like something grown rather than built. Its surface was covered in ancient symbols and dark plates. Some plates were cracked or missing, showing glowing lines beneath. Arya whispered, "It's beautiful." Kexar looked at her. "Again, you use that word." "Because it fits," Arya replied softly. The shuttle landed on a stable metal platform near a large entrance gate. The gate was made of curved plates that overlapped like the petals of a strange flower. Kexar stepped out first. Stay close. We do not know the internal layout. Kexar. The group entered the ruins. Inside, the air was cool and still. The walls glowed with soft blue patterns, like nervous systems running through metal skin. Old machines stood in corners, silent and unmoving. Arya felt her heart beat faster, but not from fear, from excitement. She moved slowly, touching the glowing patterns with gentle curiosity. One of the Vorathi engineers scanned the patterns. Energy signatures are present, but very faint. It should be dormant. Bose? Kexar walked beside Arya, observing the walls with careful eyes. Arya smiled. Humans like learning new things. Curiosity keeps us alive. Kexar tilted his head. Or gets you killed. Arya laughed quietly. Sometimes that too. Kexar made a thoughtful clicking sound. Every part of you surprises me. The human security officer whispered to Arya. He says that a lot. Arya smiled without answering. They reached a central chamber. It was wide, round, and filled with strange pillars covered in lights. In the middle stood something like an ancient console, half buried in dust. The human scientist, Dr. Levin, approached the console. If we can activate this, it might show us what the structure was used for. Arya stepped closer, scanning the symbols. The writing was old. Older than anything she had ever seen. The symbols curved like spirals, mixed with mathematical shapes. I think this panel controls the power, Arya said, in simple words. For clarity. Are you certain? Kexar asked. Not fully, Arya admitted. But the symbol repeats near energy lines on the walls. Kexar studied her face, then the console. Your reasoning is sound. Proceed carefully. Arya tapped the symbol. The chamber lights brightened. The floor vibrated. The air filled with a low, rising hum. The Vorathi engineer shouted, Power levels increasing fast. Power levels increasing fast. The walls lit up with bright blue veins, pulsing like awakening nerves. That's not normal, Dr. Levin whispered. Suddenly, a loud mechanical voice echoed through the chamber in an unknown language. The pillars activated, projecting hard light shapes into the air. What did we wake up? The human security officer murmured. A massive hologram formed in the center of the room, a sphere of shifting patterns, sharp angles, and lines of code. It rotated slowly, brightening with each pulse. Kexar raised his weapon. Identify this entity. Arya stepped forward, eyes wide. Wait. Don't provoke it. The hologram stopped rotating. The strange voice repeated louder, sharper. The lights shifted from blue to red. That does not sound friendly, Dr. Levin said. Commander, we should leave, the Vorathi guard warned. But before the group could move, the whole structure shook. Panels opened in the walls, revealing ancient drones machines with long limbs and glowing cores. Their optics lit up bright red as they crawled out. Oh no, Arya breathed. The hologram projected glowing lines across the chamber floor. The drones activated fully, rising into the air with sharp metallic sounds. The station's AI voice suddenly translated through Arya's wrist device. Identify species. Unauthorized life forms detected. Defensive mode. Initiated. Arya paled. It thinks we're intruders. Kexar hissed sharply. It will destroy us. The drones spread out, surrounding the group with precision. Their red eyes glowed brighter. The human pilot shouted, Weapons ready. No, Arya yelled. If we attack, it might escalate. Kexar stared at her. We cannot allow ourselves to be destroyed. Arya's mind raced. The AI was ancient. It probably reacted to unfamiliar energy signatures. If she could show it, that they weren't enemies. She stepped forward. Arya, the security officer called. Get back here. But Arya raised her hands slowly toward the drones. Let me try. Kexar grabbed her arm. His voice carried clear tension. This is not logical. Maybe not, Arya whispered. But maybe logic isn't the only answer. Kexar stared at her. You risk yourself easily. Sen. Someone has to, Arya said simply. Kexar's grip tightened, then slowly released. Humans, he murmured in disbelief. Always unpredictable. Arya turned to the drones. Speaking slowly and clearly, she said, We are explorers. We mean no harm. The drones paused, but only for a moment. Then the hologram flashed red again. Threat level, unknown. Initiating termination protocol. The drones raised their weapons. Kexar stepped in front of Arya instantly, shielding her with his tall frame. Retreat! He shouted to both teams. The chamber erupted into chaos. Beams of energy shot across the room. The teams ducked behind pillars, returning fire. The drones moved fast, too fast for old machines. Arya pulled out her portable translator, trying to communicate with the AI again. We are not enemies. Her voice was drowned by the sound of metal hitting stone. A drone flew toward her. Before she could react, Kexar leaped in front of it, slamming the drone away with unbelievable strength. The blow sent sparks flying. Arya stared at him. Commander. Kexar didn't look back. Do not stand still. Move. The drones kept coming. The chamber shook again, this time with enough force to knock several people off their feet. We have to get out of here, the human pilot shouted. No, Kexar said, scanning the ceiling. The exit sealed when the system activated. Arya's translator beeped with a message from the AI. Intruder energy signature. Human. Directive. Neutralize. Arya's stomach dropped. It's targeting humans specifically. Kexar turned sharply toward her. His voice was low and certain. Then, I will not let them reach you. Arya looked at him at his shielded stance, his determined eyes. All she could think was, why does he care this much? The structure shook again. Harder. Lights flickered. More drones activated. Arya's heart pounded. They were in deep danger now. And this was only the beginning. The ruins shook like a living creature waking from a long nightmare. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flashed red again and again. Drones buzzed through the air, turning the ancient chamber into a storm of metal. Lieutenant Arya Vale ducked behind a fallen pillar while Kexar blocked two drones with his armored arms. Sparks burst across his exoskeleton, but he kept his stance steady. Commander, watch out! Arya cried. Kexar smashed the first drone aside, then sliced through another with sharp-edged plating on his forearm. The broken machine fell with a hard clatter on the ancient floor. You must stay low, Lieutenant, Kexar said without looking at her. His voice sounded strained but controlled. It targets humans. First. Arya tightened her grip on the portable translator. It thinks humans are a threat. We have to show the AI we're not dangerous. Explain that to the machines trying to kill us. One of the human scientists yelled nervously while firing at an incoming drone. I'm trying, Arya shouted back, pressing buttons on the translator. But the messages were fragmented, mixed with furious warnings from the ancient system. Kexar crouched beside her as drones circled overhead. You must not expose yourself again. Your loss would weaken the mission. And... He paused, mandibles tightening. It would be unacceptable. Arya blinked. Commander, are you worried? Kexar clicked his mandibles once in impatient sound. Concern is not the correct term. I simply require your survival for tactical balance. Arya almost smiled despite the chaos. Sure, tactical. Got it. Another violent tremor shook the chamber, knocking lights from the ceiling. The walls glowed brighter, and new panels slid open as more drones prepared to deploy. We need to fall back deeper into the ruins, the human pilot yelled. This room is a death trap. No, Kexar said sharply. The deeper we go, the closer we get to the central core. It will activate more defenses. Arya heard something else under his tone fear. Not for himself. A Vorathi engineer shouted, Commander! The AI is scanning every life form. It now recognizes all Vorathi as secondary targets. That means you're next, Arya whispered. Kexar's pale eyes sharpened. For a moment he looked like a warrior from an old legend, ready, steady, and unshakable. But Arya saw something more, a flicker of doubt. This old structure was beyond even the Vorathi's expectations. She took a breath, trying to think clearly. We need to understand why it sees humans as hostile. Maybe humans give off some kind of energy signature. Explain, Kexar said, shifting to a defensive stance as two drones approached. Human bodies emit strong electromagnetic patterns, Arya said quickly. Maybe the ancient civilization used those patterns as signals for danger. Kexar grabbed a drone mid-air and slammed it into the ground. Your kind emits danger signals even when peaceful? Arya winced. Kexar stared at her with disbelief. Every part of you surprises me. One drone aimed straight at Arya. Before she could move, Kexar's arm shot out, catching the drone's metal limb. He threw it across the chamber, with enough force to dent the wall. Arya looked at him with wide eyes. You protected me. Again. You are the key to communication with the AI. His voice was firm, too firm, almost forced. Arya understood. He didn't like admitting his protectiveness, but it was there. Another explosion shook the chamber. Cracks spread across the ceiling. We have to leave, the human pilot yelled. But when they tried to run toward the entrance, a heavy metal barrier slammed down with a booming sound, sealing the path. They were trapped. Arya's heart pounded. The AI is controlling the structure. It locked us in. Kexar scanned the new barrier. There is no exit. Yes, there is, Arya said quietly. The core chamber. All heads turned to her. Kexar's eyes narrowed. Lieutenant Vale, are you suggesting we walk toward the central intelligence that wants to kill us? I'm suggesting we reason with it, Arya said. Kexar stared at her as if she had suggested jumping into a star. This is highly illogical. It's also our only chance. Arya said. We cannot outrun it. We cannot hide from it. We can only talk to it. Dr. Levin wiped sweat from his forehead. She's right. If it's reacting to human energy patterns, we need to show peaceful intent directly at the core. Kexar stepped closer to Arya. The path to the core will be dangerous. You understand this? Yes, she said without hesitation. But I'm not alone. Kexar tilted his head slowly. You trust your allies. I trust you, Arya said softly. The room went silent for a heartbeat. Kexar's mandibles froze. His eyes widened, just a little. Barely visible, but enough to show that her words had hit something deep within him. He recovered quickly, posture stiffening. Then we proceed. Stay at my side. They moved down a long corridor as drones pursued them. The walls glowed brighter as the AI tracked their movement. The deeper they went, the louder the humming became. It felt like walking inside a giant machine heart. Halfway down the corridor, the ground shook again. Panels cracked open above them. More drones! Someone yelled. Kexar positioned himself in front of Arya as dozens of glowing red eyes appeared above. We cannot fight them all, Arya said urgently. Then you must reach the core before they reach us, Kexar replied. Move. But... Kexar grabbed her arm firmly. Arya, he said, her name sounding strange but meaningful in his deep voice. If the AI sees only your energy signature as threat, then it must see you as peace. You must reach it. I will delay them. Arya shook her head. You can't fight them all alone. For tactical balance, he said sternly, your survival is required. Arya knew he was lying to himself. He was doing this for her, not for tactics. Still, they had no time to argue. The drones descended, and Kexar leaped into them like a storm, his powerful limbs striking with precise force. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. Arya felt her chest tighten. Dr. Levin and a Vorathi engineer stayed with Kexar to help hold the line. Arya sprinted with the remaining members toward the core chamber. The corridor opened into a massive room. At the center floated a glowing sphere, shifting shapes, ancient code lines, and swirling energy. It pulsed like a living star. Arya approached slowly, holding the translator to her chest. The sphere brightened. Primary hostile detected. Arya swallowed hard. I am not your enemy. The sphere pulsed red. Arya took a breath and placed her hand on the glowing floor panel. We are explorers. We want to learn, not to harm. Please, listen. The lights flickered. The sphere paused. Then it scanned her fully head to toe. She felt a tingling wave pass through her body. Human energy pattern. Matches enemy signatures from war records. Arya's heart dropped. War records? You fought humans? Not humans, but similar. A species with matching patterns. Designed for destruction. Arya exhaled slowly. We are not them. Humans are different now. Peaceful. The sphere halted. Clarify. Arya stepped closer. We create. We explore. We help each other. We trust. Images flashed from the sphere. Ancient battles. Destroyed planets. Burning ships. Then those images faded. Arya put a hand on her chest. We are not perfect. But we change. We learn. We grow. The sphere dimmed a little. Processing. She took another step. Suddenly, the doors burst open behind her. Kexar stumbled in, armor cracked, breathing heavily. Drones swarmed behind him. Arya, he shouted. The sphere reacted instantly. Protective action detected. Analyzing relationship. Arya glanced between Kexar and the sphere. He protected me. That means peace. Kexar fell to one knee but kept his weapon raised. Arya, hurry. The sphere flashed brightly red to blue to white. Human and Vorathi. Cooperative. Non-hostile. Arya felt her lungs fill with hope. Exactly, she whispered. The sphere pulsed again. Request. Both parties enter synchronization field. Arya looked at Kexar. It wants us both. Kexar hesitated. His whole body trembled from the battle. If it is a trap. Arya stepped toward him and held out her hand. Trust me. Kexar stared at her hand for a long moment. Then he took it. They stepped together into the field of white light. The sphere scanned them together. Then the voice changed tone completely. Hostility canceled. System resetting. The drones shut down instantly. The red lights faded. The chamber became quiet. Arya let out a long breath of relief. Kexar collapsed onto one knee again. She caught him as much as she could. You're okay, she whispered. His voice came out rasped, tired. Your plan was illogical, but effective, Arya said gently. Kexar looked up at her with faint amusement in his pale eyes. Every part of you. He paused, almost smiling. Continues to surprise me, human. The glowing sphere had dimmed from bright white to a soft, calm blue, as if it had taken a long breath after thousands of years of fear. The drones that once attacked them now floated lifeless on the floor, their red lights gone forever. The air felt warmer, lighter, almost peaceful. Arya Vale slowly helped Commander Kexar stand. His armor was cracked, and several plates were scorched, but he stayed balanced. His pale eyes scanned the chamber as if he still didn't fully trust the silence. "Commander, you need medical help," Arya said gently. Kexar shook his head once. "The mission comes first." Arya frowned. "The mission is already saved." Kexar looked at the core sphere, now glowing softly. "Yes. Because of your actions." Arya smiled softly. "Because of our actions." Kexar paused, and for the first time since they met, he did not look away. "We acted as one unit," he admitted. "Human and Vorathi, functioning better together than alone." Before Arya could reply, Dr. Levin and the other members of both teams finally entered the chamber. They looked at the quiet drones, the glowing sphere, and the damaged walls with wide, shocked eyes. The human pilot let out a loud breath. "I can't believe we survived." A Vorathi engineer bowed toward the core sphere with respect. "Incredible." The system accepted peace. Dr. Levin approached Arya. "Lieutenant, what exactly happened? How did you convince it?" Arya looked at Kexar, then back at the doctor. "It needed proof that humans and Vorathi were not enemies. It analyzed our cooperation, especially when Kexar protected me." Dr. Levin blinked. "So it understood your bond?" Arya nodded. "Yes, that was the key." Kexar clicked his mandibles softly, a sign of agreement. "The AI valued unity, not logic alone." Arya smiled. "Exactly." The core sphere suddenly spoke again, its voice calmer now. "Defense system reset complete. Hostility level 0. Request. Final synchronization." Arya looked around. "It wants to finish the system shutdown." Kexar nodded. "Then we must give it the final signal." Together, they stepped into the circle of blue light once more. The sphere scanned them, but this time, the light felt gentle, like a warm breeze instead of a threat. The patterns around the chamber slowly dimmed, sealing ancient doors and shutting down long-forgotten weapons. Finally, the sphere spoke its last message. "Thank you, new allies." Peaceful contact established. Then the lights faded completely. The ancient AI finally slept. For good. Returning to Araval Prime. The journey back to the station was slow but calm. The shuttle glided between the asteroids, without a single disturbance. The ruins behind them now looked like a great, sleeping beast, no longer dangerous, but full of history and mystery. Inside the shuttle, Arya sat beside Kexar. A medical scanner beeped softly as it checked his injuries. A human medic frowned. "Commander, your injuries are serious." Kexar sat straight. "I am functional." The medic sighed. "Functional doesn't mean healthy." Arya shook her head with a small smile. "He's stubborn." Kexar tilted his head at her. "Stubborn? It means refusing to rest even when you should," Arya explained simply. Kexar considered this. "Then yes, I am stubborn." Arya laughed softly. The medic looked between them with confusion but didn't comment. As the shuttle docked with Araval Prime, both human and Vorathi delegates waited nervously at the hangar. When Kexar stepped out with Arya at his side, the entire hall seemed to breathe in relief. Captain Wren walked straight to Arya. "Lieutenant, are you all right?" "Yes, sir," Arya said. "We all are. The situation is under control." Kexar stepped forward and spoke clearly, his voice carrying across the hangar. "Lieutenant Vale was the central reason for our survival. Her actions prevented destruction of both teams." The hall grew absolutely silent. Captain Wren raised an eyebrow. "Really? Well done, Lieutenant." Kexar continued. "She displayed courage, adaptability, and intelligence unmatched in the encounter." Arya felt her face warm slightly. "Commander." Kexar looked at her. "This is factual reporting, Lieutenant." The Vorathi delegates murmured among themselves. They had never heard their commander speak with such open respect for another species. One Vorathi diplomat stepped forward. Commander Kexar, do you believe humans are trustworthy partners? Kexar turned his head toward Arya again, studying her quietly for a moment before answering. Yes, he said firmly. I believe humans possess qualities worth alliance. The diplomat looked surprised. You speak with certainty. Kexar's gaze returned to the diplomat. I have witnessed their nature directly. Arya felt something warm grow in her chest. Kexar wasn't a species that gave trust easily, but he gave it now, openly and clearly. The Alliance Conference. Later, both species gathered in the grand meeting chamber of Araval Prime. The room felt alive with conversation. Humans and Vorathi stood together, reviewing data from the ruins and discussing future cooperation. Captain Wren stepped forward to make an announcement. Today, he said proudly, we faced a danger older than our civilizations, and we survived because we worked together. The Vorathi elder diplomat added, we once feared human unpredictability, but today, that same unpredictability saved us. The hall buzzed with agreement. Arya stood quietly near the side, watching the delegates forming plans for real partnership, resource exchanges, joint scientific missions, cultural programs. For the first time, the two species looked hopeful. Kexar approached her. Even in the crowd, he moved with silent grace. Lieutenant, he said. Arya turned. Hello, Commander. You stand apart from the others. I'm just thinking, Arya said, about what this means, for humans, for Vorathi, for us. Kexar tilted his head. Us? Arya smiled, a soft, calm smile. You and me. We worked together better than anyone expected. Kexar blinked slowly. Yes, this is accurate. Arya studied him carefully. His exoskeleton still showed cracks from the battle, but his posture was straight and strong. You risked yourself to protect me. Kexar's mandibles moved slowly. I did what was necessary. Arya raised an eyebrow. Really? Just necessary? Nothing more? Kexar paused. Then he spoke more quietly. You misunderstand. Necessary does not mean meaningless. Arya's smile grew. Thank you, Kexar. Something in the commander's eyes softened. A strange warmth settled between them. Simple, peaceful, new. A quiet moment. After the meeting ended, Arya and Kexar walked together along the observation deck of the station. The stars outside sparkled like rivers of silver dust. Kexar stood beside her, watching the endless galaxy. Your species sees beauty everywhere. Arya nodded. Yes, space is beautiful. Kexar clicked softly. You called our ruins beautiful too. Because they were. Arya said gently. Even dangerous things can hold beauty. Kexar looked at her. Truly looked. And you are not afraid of unknown things. Not usually, Arya answered. Life is full of unknown things. Fear stops us from learning. Kexar turned his gaze back to the stars. Humans confuse me. Arya laughed quietly. Good confusion or bad confusion? Kexar took a breath, his voice steady but warm. Every part of you surprises me, human. Every part. And I do not believe this is a bad thing. Arya felt her heart soften. She stepped a little closer, not touching him, just standing near enough that the space between them felt shared, peaceful. That's good, she said softly, because every part of you surprises me too. Kexar glanced at her, and for the first time his mandibles lifted in a gesture she had never seen before, something gentle, something almost like a smile in Vorathi language. We are different, he said. Yet, stronger together. Arya nodded. Exactly. They stood side by side, silent but connected, watching the stars shift beyond the glass. A new alliance had begun not just between their governments, but between two individuals who should never have understood each other, but did. It was not the end. It was only the beginning.